Hey, everybody. I'm Tony Marino. I wrote this book, Unchosen. Maybe it's coming flipped over because of the camera. I'm not sure. I'm not that very good with the cameras. And I got a great idea from somebody, a very loving cousin, my cousin Arthur, said that I should probably read the first chapter out loud for you guys on video to see if it may tickle you guys' fancy. So here it is, Unchosen, Tony Marino. Uh, to my mom and dad, my proofreader Rosanna, and my book cover artist Christina. This book would not exist without you all. What a wonderful gaggle of silly gooses who all need therapy. And then in the quote I put, we are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. Oscar Wilde. That's public domain now, so don't at me. Chapter 1 of Unchosen. Shit. That's the title. When a warrior, wizard, or king loses their life in battle, their bowels rid them of any dignity by further soiling the blood-soaked battleground. So yeah, they shit themselves. At the hallowed stones of Alzahar crater, anything with a pulse was dispensing their last loaf as they died in glorious combat. The prize being the control of the planet known as Thera. Either good prevailed, thus consolidating a millennia of peace and prosperity, or darkness does its thing and the whole world is thrown into a hell pit of despair where death is the nice ending. And in this particular cycle of life, the one up to bat for the baddies was the one known as Dark Lord Volstadt. For 14 weeks, the battle cries and death rattles of the Millithid coalition crashed against the hellion hordes of Volstadt. 8 feet tall, pale as moonlight, hair of bantam black. If the embodiment of death took up a modeling career, it would be the ugly understudy to the gothic monolith that is Volstadt, tamer of the abyss. The corrupt mages of the Forland coast whipped up a conception ritual most vile and filthy, charged with every incantation of every grimoire penned by the most sadistic of warlocks. A 2-day orgy/ritual involving mages, dragons, and random barnyard animals wallowing in a pit of depravity. Any who bore witness felt compelled to rip their eyes out at the horrors that spawned the Dark Champion. The messed up freak fest birthed a being impervious to any blade or spell. All fear, doubt, and flaw eugenically eradicated from this big boy of blasphemy, leaving a being of perfect cunning, bred for one purpose alone: victory by means of ultraviolence. To counteract this agent of doom, the oracles of Millithid listened to the prophetic songs whispered by the omniscient cosmos. The rather repetitive melody sang as follows: From hand of chosen man shall the Damarung slay the Dark Lord's command. World-class record-selling lyricist the omniscient Cosmos was not, but it got the point through and understood easily enough. The holiest of holy swords, Damarung, compressed the infinite power of a dimension of pure light into the only weapon capable of killing even the most powerful kings of evil. Aiden Polthic, raised by the druid nomad clans of the northeastern plains, was the one who would charge against said darkness. His people murdered by Volstadt's draconic guard. The poor boy drifted into the Emerald Harbor, using a very unique flotation device, the Damarung Blade. Aiden grew into a behemoth of a man, eyes of auburn, hair so blonde the only thing more golden was his heart. He trained with the warrior mages of Millithid, honing his vengeance into a weapon of powerful as the holy sword that glowed in his hands. He etched into the blade the name of every soul slain in his clan, so when it found its final home in Volstadt's chest, his people would taste the demise of the one who took them from him. Volstadt's armies stood back as the Void Lord took the vanguard. They witnessed in silent awe the devastation their king could bring forth with a single swing. With a single swing of his demonic greatsword known as Thig. Cyclones of black flame exploded from his cursed sword, cutting platoons of men into nothing but feed for the carrion crows that hovered around the carnage. The Dark One's demeanor was that of a predator lost in the ecstasy of the hunt, and he was soon to run out of sheep. The thundering gallop of a single horse cut through the horrid sounds of the one-sided bloodbath. Every god, demon, and supernatural whatchamacallit tuned to bear witness to the moment in history. The crescendo of war was getting to its climax, and the powers that be were ready for the money shot. Riding his snow stallion Helios, Aiden charged through, vivisecting the hordes of Volstadt with every plasma flared slash. Damerung's edge cut through the night sky with such radiance you would have thought the sword commanded the very sun to break into the war-scarred canyon. Aiden became a beacon to his men, force-feeding their hopes and dreams into his incandescent weapon of fate, rendering it brighter and brighter, blinding all with its blade's holy light. In that moment, Volstad had his brain pierced by something far sharper than the very sword Aiden wanted to stab him with. Fear. Every hair, every cell, every atom within him shivered with the instinctual need to get the fuck out of there. But like I said, it was really, really bright. And I don't know and I don't know when was the last time you stepped into a war zone, but good vision is an important thing to have in such an event. This is where the shit of it all comes into play. All that fallen soldier excrement made the hard gritted grounds of Al Zahar as slippery as a fish with a petroleum jelly fetish. Bolstadt was ready to clash with his fated foe and meet his destiny. But Helios, that poor horse, never before had its hooves defiled had its hooves defiled by the putrid presence of warrior dung. So when the post-mortem dump of one Private Edgar Weatherson lubed up the floor, the elegant equine's front right hoof gave into the slickness. Helios's ankle popped. Its pain-paralyzed body crashed into the soiled terrain, causing the horse to turn into a very powerful organic catapult, thus hurling the chosen one straight into the Lord of Despair. In parentheses, yes, he does have a large amount of titles and nicknames. Good for you for noticing. Even the resourceful hero, ever the resourceful hero, Aiden took the moment into his favor and readied his dimensional sword for a god-killing strike, shaping his very destiny into a projectile of justice aimed dead center at the murderer of all he loved and cherished. But the stirrup, that damn left stirrup. The gaudy garbage snagged Aiden's foot, redirecting Aiden into a half-mooned body slam on the craggy ground. What busted his mortal coil was his 1,200-pound horse falling on top of his spine, instantly breaking it, as well as pulverizing his ribs, collapsing his lungs, and crushing his heart to a fine paste. The blade's radiance flickered away to pale, muted reality, bringing the battlefield back into the embrace of night, signaling with its dying splendor the end of the war. Not with the epic contest of good versus evil, not with the heroic sacrifices that would inspire many a bard toward somber songs. Nope. A horse slid on some shit and broke the chosen one's body like a sun-baked chicken carcass. It took Volstadt a moment to process all that had transpired. His fate-appointed rival dead. The sanguine armies of Forlin victorious. The evil king turned his gaze to the one half of the prophecy that could still end him, the light show of a sword, Damerung. Its brilliance wept with the sentient need to rid the world of the Void Lord. Volstadt needed it gone. His armored boot crashed upon the flat of the blade, every earth-shattering strike leaving nothing but scratches. He brought to force his famed gravity magic. Mountains and meteors crashed down in an effort to fulminate the blade. The ludicrous display of space-shattering magic only sharpened its edge. He summoned the world-ending fires of the primeval dragon Lumithix. The colossal city-scorching reptile couldn't even peel the cerulean paint within the crossguard. Volstadt roared with such ear-piercing power it ripped a hole in the cloud-covered chasm the size of Alzahar crater itself. The star-covered night sky gave him an idea worthy of his ludicrous power. He said, "Exile it is, then." His right hand boiled and charred as it gripped the condensed antithesis to his existence that was the Damerung. He channeled his pain and rage into launching the accursed thing into the one place it could never come back from, outer space. It broke the sound barrier as it ripped through the atmosphere. Both armies of the concluded battle looked at it go, and they all had the same question. What the fuck now? The pillars of destiny, fate, and causality collapsed into uncertainty the further Damarung exited their particular sector of the galaxy. The rule of Lord Volstadt was about to swallow up Thera, and the only one who had any idea on what to do was the very figurehead of the Forlin warlocks responsible for Volstadt's creation, the big brain, wicked codger known as Calumet Vidmoth. A few of the remaining faithful tried to avenge the accidental death of the Druid prince, but any flame of rebellion was snuffed out with ruthless efficiency. As for the rest of the world, submit or die was the operating policy. From the icy peaks of the Zorbok Mountains to the mystical sand dunes of Voron Samat, the kingdoms of man were swept into an instinctual reflex of bending the knee, all in the name of survival. The whole city's on fire while every man, woman, and child are put to shackles and forced to pick whole mountains bare till they die of exhaustion and or black lung was the expected future. All while Volstadt and company fed on virgins while swimming in baby unicorn blood. And yes, the big bad men with blood-drenched banners did march into every town and city they found, but no heads were chopped, no women kidnapped. Quite the opposite. They went to every home, shop, and brothel with a rather comprehensive census on how to optimize the machinations of each part of the many kingdoms towards the unified glory of the Forlan Empire. Volstadt's intellect was only rivaled by the combined brain power of the wizards that brought him to be. But both he and his head wizard Calamit's true power existed in their ability for foresight. They saw the whole doom and gloom approach to world domination was not suitable in the long run. You force the faces of millions into the fires. Sooner or later, a few 100,000 of them would try to jumpstart an insurrection. Period. This had to be done with the long game in mind. You can't get rid of free will with one fell swoop. It has to be dripped away, slowly, methodically, so the backwater ingrates you take it from don't even notice it gone. Generation after generation was born, used up and put into the ground. With each century, the world slowly forgetting the past. History books altered, one word at a time in favor to Lord Volstadt. So on and so forth, until such historically pertinent moments in the history of Thera was treated more like myth than fact. Gone were the records of Prince Aidan. Gone were the songs and legends regarding all the mythical things that gave Thera its natural sense of wonder. And wonder, dear reader, is one of the most powerful forces in any reality. And Calamit's plan required a members-only access to such potent resources. Technology had its place in the subjugation of it all. Every decade or so, someone developed a new form of transportation, a new kitchen appliance, or some novel brain-dulling entertainment. All of them curated by Calumet towards making loyal subjects to Volstadt more malleable, compliant, and dull. Civil wars came and went. A plague or two did their viral murder spree. But for the most part, Thera kept on turning. But at the end of the day, you still had to wake up, go to work, pay your rent, and lose a gram of your soul every start of the work week. Control is not about making your sheep tremble as they walk into the meat grinder. It's about dumbing them down enough to think that the meat grinder has free cable and orgasm-inducing donuts. Many thousand years later, Thera looked very much like the Earth you folks have. Motor vehicles, digital entertainment, booze, porn, all the pillars of modern civilization. Every technological step fading the presence of magic further and further away from humanity. No need to learn the ancient ways of pyromancy to get a fire going when the electric stove blazes away at the flick of a switch. Why dabble in alchemy when the pharmacy has the painkillers on special every Monday? Magic was wild and unruly. Science could be molded and controlled to the whims of Bolstadt and the Grand Council under him. Few outside of President Volstadt and his council still practiced the arcane ways in secret, keeping some of the ancient traditions alive. If any regular civilian was found or ratted out by their neighbors, these unlucky ones were sent to re-education camps rarely to be seen again. So the bad guys won, Volstadt's grip on humanity consolidated with Calamit's perfected sedation of the masses, and Thera has never been more in order, yet more miserable than ever. Order is a fortress. Order is a fortress. forever burdened to build a taller wall to keep chaos at bay. But if you erect it too tall and narrow, any idiot can topple it over. In this case, two idiots. That is the end of chapter 1. Shit. Hope you guys really liked it. That's my first time reading it out loud, like on a camera. I really liked how that first chapter sounded. But please, I know I'm not a fan of the Bezos. He can go suck a duck. But if you liked what I read, please go to Amazon. Look for Unchosen by Tony Marino. You can get it on digital or paperback. Only $11.99 like this, $4.99 if you want to get it on Kindle. And yeah, please support, please help independent publishers. This will help me a great deal. And please put reviews up. And if you guys like this, I would love to read chapter 2 to you. So, hope you enjoyed this. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching, and take care.